welcome to Apple Classroom for MacBook. In the previous video, Hit the Target, we covered individual student actions, as well as organizing your class. In this video, we're going to go ahead and start off by showing you how to send files to students. So let's go ahead and return to the home screen and find a file that we wish to send to our students. I'm going to begin by launching the Finder. It's going to automatically open to our recent files, which is great because I want to choose this 1.2 assignment to send to my students. Instead of opening the file, however, we want to just go ahead and select it and then hit the Share button, the square with an arrow emerging from it at the top of the window. Next, we want to choose AirDrop. This is the method by which we want to send this file to our students. After selecting AirDrop, we will get a list of available devices in proximity to which we can send, and we'll also get our class and any groups within our class that are available to have this file sent to as well. I've chosen to send this to the entire English class, but keep in mind, prior to sending any files to your students, let them know that a file is coming because they will need to accept the file on their device. This is the notification that students will see on their devices anytime a file is sent to them in this manner. Once all students have accepted the file, it will say Sent underneath the group that you have chosen to send the file to. After clicking Done, we can just go ahead and open up Apple Classroom again. Inside of our classroom, we can see that both Student 1 and Student 2 are in Keynote and have the file that was sent to them opened up on their device. We're now going to switch over to the student iPad view to see how students will send files back to their teachers. So inside of Keynote on the student's device, they are going to want to begin by hitting the More button, which is the circle with 3 dots inside of it in the upper right-hand corner of their screen. A drop-down menu appears, and students will then want to choose the Share option, which should be towards the top. After selecting Share, airdropping the file to their teacher should be at the top of the screen that they see. If not, they are able to also choose AirDrop and send the file in the same way that we sent files to the students moments earlier. Back in our classroom, we will now see that our Dropbox has a number next to it, in this case, the number 1, to represent the file that student 2 just sent back to us. Clicking on the Dropbox will display any assignments that have been sent to us and who sent the file. If we haven't opened it yet, a blue dot will appear to the left of the file. And it's important to note that if we do not open files before we end classes, they will disappear because they're only temporary at this stage. We need to make sure that we open them so that they're saved to our device, especially if we don't plan on grading them immediately, waiting till maybe the end of the day to get to the grading. If we go ahead and click on the file, it will open up in a new window for us to review. Clicking on the title at the top of the window will allow us to rename the file and also relocate the file on our device. For instance, I could move it to a folder where I would like the file to be located instead. Downloads in this case, because I save everything in my downloads file. But for those of you that like to stay organized, this is a great way to keep the students' assignments in a specific location on your device so that you can reference back to it at a later time. Back in our classroom, we're now going to look at some more actions that we can take for specific students as well as groups of students. So to get started with that, let's go ahead and choose one of our students. I'm going to go ahead and choose Student 1 to bring up the Student Actions menu. From here, I want to go ahead and cover the AirPlay action. So let's go ahead and select AirPlay here on Student 1's action menu. AirPlay is a great way to share the screen of a student for the entire class to see on a device such as the Promethean board. So once you select AirPlay, you get a list of devices to which you can share that screen. I'm going to go ahead and select Mr. Garcher's board. And once the screen has successfully been displayed on the board, I'll get the green check mark letting me know that everything is working as it should. This can be a great option to display good work by students or to have students walk through a particularly difficult task as the lead student so that other students can follow along by looking at a device that is identical to their own. Back in our classroom, we'll notice that both Student 1 and Student 2 are in the Keynote application. So the next action that I want to cover is actually the hide action, but hiding for groups. So if I want to get both students' attention in a quick and efficient manner, I'm going to go ahead and hit the hide button. It's the eyeball with a line through it, and that's going to return both of my students to their home screen. After all devices have been sent to the home screen, I will get a green check mark that lets me know that the action has been executed properly, and hopefully I can make this a way to redirect students' attention back to me as a teacher and stop them working. Kind of like a digital pencils down, eyes up. Another classroom management tool that's great for redirecting students is the lock button, which is a padlock up at the top of the window just to the right of the eyeball. And this is going to lock students from engaging on anything on their device. After pressing the lock button, you will get the green check mark once all student iPads have been locked and the action has been executed successfully. Back in the classroom, you will get visual evidence that iPads have been locked by the gray lock screen and the locked text underneath each of your students. In order to unlock their iPads when you're ready, you just would go ahead and hit that padlock button again. And then when all of the iPads have been unlocked, you'll get the green check mark letting you know that that action has been executed successfully. Another classroom management action that I want to draw your attention to is the mute action, which is up there at the top, just to the right of the padlock button. And this is for when students are listening to a recording, a video, some audio, and they're listening too loud. So you can just go ahead and mute all the student iPads at once. And when all iPads have been muted, you'll get the green check mark letting you know that that occurred. So that pretty much covers everything that you can do within Apple Classroom. At the end of your class session, you'll want to go ahead and end class. So to do that, you would go and hit the More button, which is that circle with 3 dots in it at the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And then you'll just go ahead and hit the End Class option. After ending a class, you will be taken to a class summary page. On the class summary, you will be able to review app usage, items that were shared by your students to your Dropbox, and then also individual student summaries. If, for instance, we forgot to open one of the assignments that was sent to us, now is a great time to go ahead and click on that assignment and open it. This way we can grade it now or save it somewhere to be graded later. Clicking on an app in the app usage portion of the class summary allows us to see what students used that app and when and for how long they were in the app. And then lastly, clicking on a specific student in the student summaries portion will show us which apps that student used and how long they were in those apps. After you finished reviewing your class session, you can just go ahead and click Done in the upper right-hand corner, and it will return you to your class list. That concludes our Apple Classroom Up for a Challenge video. I hope that you have learned some things about Apple Classroom that you will be able to utilize in your own class with your students. Be sure to complete the assignment for the Step Right Up Challenge in Google Classroom, and can't wait to see you guys again in the December version.